Growing up, I always looked forward to eating healthy, home cooked meals. My mom's cooking was the best. But as time went on and life got busier, I found myself having to stop at vending machines or fast food restaurants for food. I'm sure everyone in class can relate to that. But as time went on of this continuing this routine, I started to feel sick and gain weight and feel like I didn't have any energy. I noticed that this routine was starting to have a lot of negative effects on my body. So I made a deal with my girlfriend that we were going to do whatever it took to make changes to our diet and exercise plan to start living healthier. But how exactly were we going to do that? We signed up at our local gym, and then I went home and started doing some research on what I could do to start eating healthier. A few things that I found were very informative were that processed foods can actually do a lot of harm to your body. Juicing is a form of diet that can be very beneficial, and we need to make changes as a people to start living healthier lives in the future. So, processed foods are such a big part of our society that we have a hard time determining exactly what's processed and what isn't. The American Cancer Society published an article saying that food processing is any time that you refine grains or salt or smoked meats or freeze or can fruits or vegetables. It turns out that these processes are actually doing a lot of harm to our body when we consume these foods. The article states that anytime you consume food that is considered processed, you actually have an increased risk of getting cancer. It is also widely known that eating processed foods can lead to weight gain. There was an article published by Cambridge University in 2011 by Carlos Monteiro. He did a study over 30 years in Brazil that looked at lower and middle class families to see what exactly they were purchasing at grocery stores. 30 years prior to 2011, it turned out that families were purchasing a lot of natural organic fruits and vegetables. Currently, it turns out that most of the foods that are purchased at grocery stores are extremely highly processed foods, like ready-to-eat meals and things like that, canned goods. The article calls for government legislation and regulation to help prevent these foods from coming to market because of how big the risks are. I don't necessarily agree with government regulation. I believe that everybody has a right to choose to eat whatever they want. But I think that we need to help better educate the general population to know what foods are healthy and what aren't. And we also need to have a better educational system to help teach people how to prepare foods that are considered healthy. But speaking of healthy foods, one way that people can actually begin to eat healthier is by juicing or doing a juice fast. Ying Hong Lin wrote an article for the American Journal of Medicine explaining exactly what a juice fast was. A juice fast is considered a 3 to 10 day period where one only consumes fruit and vegetable juices. Now, I'm not talking about V8 juice or cranberry juice or anything like that. Those are processed juices. I'm talking about taking fruits and vegetables and putting them through a juicer or through a blender and drinking the juice immediately. The article states that there's a lot of benefits to juicing, including increased energy, weight loss, and you can flush all the toxins out of your body. But juicing may not be for everyone. I personally tried doing a juice fast, and I only made it to day 2. It's supposed to be 3 to 10 days, but I had such bad cravings for real food that I had to stop and eat something that was processed. So it's really not as easy as it looks. So for a lot of you, I'm sure you want to consider juicing, but don't want to take the time to do that. So a meal replacement is another good alternative to do that, to get the nutrients that you're not normally getting. The American Journal of Medicine also released an article saying that one person was actually sent to the hospital from juicing. But they were sent to the hospital because they did a 6-week juice cleanse when it's only supposed to be 3 to 10 days. So when doing this, moderation is definitely key. But regardless of which diet you decide to choose, it's important to recognize that America has a lot of problems with their dietary plan and that we need to make changes. The CDC released a list of the top 10 causes of death in 2013. That included heart disease, stroke, diabetes, as well as cancer. All of these can be results of a poor diet. Obesity is at an all-time high, and we need to make big changes for the next generation of children. Cynthia Ogden wrote an article for the Journal of the American Medical Association. In 2013, they did a study that showed that 2/3 of adults are overweight. 38% of children between 2 and 18 are considered overweight as well. It's pretty obvious that the youth of this nation is learning their poor eating habits from their adults as well as their peers. If we make changes to our diets, we could set a perfect example for children for years to come. I'm sure changing your diet doesn't sound like a very pleasant or fun experience, but it's well worth it in the end. I recommend to make changes to your diet to find somebody to make the changes with. It's much easier to have a friend or family member or a significant other with you when you're making these big changes to help support you along the way. But now that we can recognize that processed foods are considered very unhealthy, we can utilize dietary changes like juicing to help make the changes necessary for our diets for years to come.